Hey, there we are. We are live. Hello, I'm Dr. Nikki, and this is the fabulous Emma Sutherland. And we are going to be talking all about getting your body moving in the menopause because it's really important. It will help you to feel so much better, even though it's often the last thing we want to do. So yeah, hopefully everyone can kind of see us and hear us. I've got us going live on YouTube and on Facebook at the moment. And I can see myself in here and it looks like everything's working because I can see that I've got my captions working. Excellent. So as you go along, if you've got any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat box. I'll try and keep an eye on them as we go along. But yes, so hopefully you know who I am, but I'm going to let Emma introduce herself and tell us why you're here.
Thanks, Nikki. So I'm Emma. I am by day somebody that works in HR. By night, I teach yoga of varying different flavors. So I trained in Hatha yoga, but I've subsequently done menopause yoga teacher training and also restorative teacher training. So if you'd have told me probably back in my 20s or even at school that I would be talking to you in my 40s as a perimenopausal woman about movement and activity, I would have laughed because I wasn't your kind of naturally gifted sports person at school. I was generally picked last for the teams. I could generally have quite a good bash at non-stop cricket. My parents were always passionate about me and my brother being able to swim and doing all those kind of things. And we used to play cricket in the garden and that kind of stuff as kids. But yeah, that was more driven by my dad loving sport and my brother being very into sport. I really wasn't. So I guess my journey with movement was really more dancing in nightclubs at university and subsequently sort of teaching myself to run on treadmills in my 20s, picking up kind of the various Les Mills, body balance, body pump, those kind of classes at the gym. Graduated to running, so ran 5Ks, 10Ks, and I've done a few half marathons in my time as well, and got into yoga when I was 30 after basically lifting up rock and roll. This is I lifted a pot in the garden and hurt my back, and the doctor suggested that I try yoga to strengthen my core, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Yeah, I think this is the problem, isn't it? We often do these like really run-of-the-mill type things, and that's when we cause ourselves injuries because you're not kind of prepared for it, or you don't realise that you need to have certain muscles engaged, and we just kind of just move about thinking everything's going to be fine, and then until that one day where it suddenly catches up with you. So yeah, you had a really difficult time, didn't you, with your back?
Yeah, so I mean, it all started, as I said, when I was 30, which I think, like most people, did a lot of driving with my job, travelled around. And if I wasn't driving a car, I was driving a laptop. And that has basically been the story of my career from probably the age of 25. So yeah, kind of pulled a muscle in my back at 30. And then, yeah, so I now have a full-on herniated disc at L4, L5, which caused quite significant sciatica right at the end of my yoga teacher training, actually. So that was interesting. But I've subsequently learned that dropping estrogen levels can cause issues with the discs in the back, degeneration, that kind of thing. So it's a fairly common thing with menopause, which I didn't realise at the time. And had I have known, yeah, we live and learn. It may have been a less painful process, but yeah, learned a lot through that. And I'm pleased to say that, having thought at one point I wouldn't ever be teaching or even practicing yoga postures again, yeah, I'm back running classes, which is fantastic, and enjoying getting back to my practice, which is different. So I used to do quite strong styles, so would love to go to a sort of vinyasa flow class, so something that was kind of lots of movement and quite fast on a Saturday morning to kind of chill out and get rid of the week, and maybe something like Ashtanga, which again, strong postural sequence. I'm definitely more of a fan of Hatha, making sure you're moving the body, strengthening the body, holding postures for that bit longer, or restorative is great because basically you get into the most comfortable position you can and relax. I mean, what's not to like about that? So yeah, you'll probably more likely find me in a restorative class now than doing anything too strength inducing or too fast.
Oh yeah, I've been to one of your menopause yoga classes, and they honestly are really relaxing. So I am going to share details of my website at the end, where you can find out information about Emma. And yeah, go and if you're in the local area to Milton Keynes, Toaster, that kind of direction, you could certainly go along to one of her classes and give it a try, because it's different. Menopause yoga is different, isn't it? So we're kind of going to go into a little bit of that in a bit. So right, so when I have a consultation with a patient, I basically have to say to them,
yeah,
part of their menopause treatment plan, if you like, is to do with exercise. And I think we kind of say it as oh yeah, okay, fine, healthy diet, exercise and everything. It's just one of those kind of cliche things. But actually, there is a lot of evidence now that is showing that movement is really, really useful, not only for improving our symptoms, but also for reducing our risks of things. I just want to show everybody, hang on, she says, if I can actually find how I'm going to do this. I'm going to show you a really good website. Let me just have a look, share screen, here we go. It's called the Women's Health Concern website, and I always share it with my patients because there's some really good fact sheets on there. So hopefully you can see that. Yeah, we can see that on the screen. Excellent. So if you see on the picture there on the, just as you can see, the different little people that are along the lines there. So this is the breast cancer risk in pictorial form for a 50 to 59-year-old. Now, the top line is the background risk of the population. So this is 23 per 1,000 women aged 50 to 59 would naturally go on to have breast cancer. Now that sounds frightening, but actually it's 23 per 1,000 women. So it's not actually huge numbers we're talking about here. Now, when you add in things like HRT, combined HRT, this is progesterone and estrogen, it increases it by another 4 women. So what I often give to women is HRT, and I am slightly increasing their risk of breast cancer. So not ideal, but that is unfortunately one of the things that we have to contend with. Now, if we just gave estrogen only HRT, so if you're one of the lucky people who don't actually have a need for the progesterone bit, or maybe unlucky depending on how you came to that conclusion, but anyway, that actually reduces your risk down by 4 women. So that goes from 23 down to 19 per 1,000. And then if you look at these next lines coming along, so we've got combined contraception, so it's the same as HRT. We've got alcohol, that increases your risk by an additional 5 women. We've got smoking, which increases it by 3 women. And then we've got being overweight, so having a BMI of over 30. And look how much that increases it. That basically doubles somebody's risk of breast cancer developing. And then this final line here is 2.5 hours of moderate exercise per week and the reduction that's associated with that. So if you are somebody who has been put on HRT, combined HRT, and you exercise regularly as well, and you're eating healthily, and you're not smoking, and you're not drinking, and you're not overweight, then all of that is going to help improve your risk of breast cancer. Now, not all of us, unfortunately, are in that situation, and some of us do have work to do, myself included, and anybody that feels that they need to do something on their health, then this is a good time to start doing it. And one of the places that you can focus on is exercise, which would also help with weight, which would also help with potentially healthy living, healthy lifestyles and things, because when you exercise, you want to feel better, you want to live healthier, don't you? So this is a really stark way of seeing how our lifestyle can really impact just on one area. This is just breast cancer. This is not even anything else to do with our health and lifestyle and well-being. But yeah, we know that it's got benefits for our mental health. We know that it's got benefits for our bones and our joints and things as well. So women are more likely to develop bone thinning as they get older as well, particularly in the menopausal years when their estrogen levels drop. So we need to be maintaining our exercise to be able to keep our bone strength as good as we can possibly get it. So that's what I say to people when they come and see me in a consultation. But actually, what does that mean? How are we going to actually put that into practice? So this is where I recommend that you go and see someone like Emma, and you start maintaining your exercise plan in a way that works for you. And yoga is one of the ways you can do that, right?
Absolutely. So I think, my chiropractor will also tell me that motion is lotion. So there is so much more now. I think it used to be, oh, you need to rest and don't move. And actually, I think some of the medical advice has actually changed around things that, you might need to rest immediately for that immediate, I guess, that trauma piece. But once that's over, actually being mobile is actually much better. And I know people who've had hip replacement operations, and they want them out of bed and moving as soon as they're able to. So there's none of this sort of laying around. And I think that's true for all of us. So absolutely, bone health. So one of the scary things that I learned on yoga, the menopause yoga teacher training, was that bone density drops after the age of 30 in women. And you think, crikey O'Reilly, 30. So for me, that was something that really I really thought about. It's so important for bone health. It's so important for muscles, because we tend to lose muscle tone the older we get. I did quite a lot of personal training, and I would lift weights and all of those kinds of things. And I'm really glad that I did do that during my 30s, because I've, since I've had the more serious back issues, I've probably backed off from some of that. And I see the physical differences in my body. So definitely, I think being able to use your body weight, if you're not a fan of dumbbells or kettlebells or something like that. I think it's absolutely for your cardiovascular health. The risk of heart attacks and stroke and all of those kind of things are actually higher in women as we travel through menopause. I think for me, there's just, you mentioned being overweight having an impact, not just for breast cancer, but just all sorts of issues. And I think that's, for me, that's as much about mental health. And when I physically couldn't do anything because I was in pain and literally my body wouldn't work properly, it actually, for me, was the mental health that went first, because I couldn't, going out for a run, going out for a walk, going swimming, whatever it was that I did, I couldn't do any of that. Massively detrimented my mental health, and got my, if luckily I had a good support network around me, but I don't want to think about what that might have been had I not been able to get back to doing something. So I think mood for good mood and all of that kind of thing, I think exercise for me is absolutely fundamental. And we've already talked about weight, and I think for me it's also about stress relief. I used to run to de-stress. That's how I de-stressed. I think you have to be careful, and I think depending on where you are, if you're burnt out, if you do too much cardio and you do too much running and do too much activity, you actually end up promoting stress in your body. So things that I was doing that I thought would help my stress levels were actually probably working against me. That exercise like running can release cortisol, and actually, as we know as women, that we tend to hold on, high levels of cortisol mean that you hold on to belly fat and all of that kind of stuff. So actually, I think it's choosing the right activity for where you are and what you need to. If you feel great, then fine, but actually maybe finding things de-stressing, finding ways of relaxing, which is why I like the restorative yoga. It might be Pilates because it's calmer, but you've got the strength element to that and the body conditioning element. It could be swimming, something like that you're working your muscles. You're using the impact and your weight, the weight of the water, whatever it might be, but find something that works for you and just tune into what it is that your body needs, because maybe it's not a really fast, heavy run. It might just be going out for a walk in the sunshine, or even going out for a walk in the rain, and just, getting your body moving in some way.
I think that answers this question about not being managed to get back to yoga, but brisk walks everywhere. I try to do Joe Wicks exercises at home on my days off. Is it helpful?
100%.
Absolutely, it is.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. Any movement is good movement. So I don't know whoever has read. I mean, Davina McCall, I used to do a lot of her workouts. Joe Wicks, incidentally, I saw on Facebook, has actually released a menopause sort of training for women in menopause as well. So keep a lookout for that if you do the Joe Wicks workouts, because I'm guessing he will have some stuff that's particularly formulated around strength training and all of that kind of thing. But yeah, fantastic. And well done. It doesn't matter that it's not yoga. I'd love you to be doing like yoga, of course, I love it, but finding the thing that works for you, because it will just make you feel so much better.
I think, and on that line as well, it's 100% what works for you, but also what works with your lifestyle as well. I mean, I do a lot of health assessments for people now, and the biggest thing that I see is I don't have time. Okay, well, right, let's break it down. When could you realistically fit? Just start with 10 minutes, just something in your diary. And a lot of the people that I see also work from home. Okay, great. Well, could you find 10 minutes at the start of your day or middle part of your day, or even, I mean, it's not ideal, but at the end of your day, to try and do something, some kind of movement? And the answer is usually yes, because we all can find 10 minutes. And that's based on that principle from James Clear, the 1% rule. Atomic Habits is the book I'm trying to think of.
Atomic Habits.
And he talks about habit forming as it's almost like a complete shift in who you believe you are to be. So if you want to be somebody who is fit and a certain size and healthy, whatever, then you've got to become that persona. So would that person be able to find 10 minutes at least of their day to exercise? 100% yes, they would be able to, and they'd probably be able to do other things as well. So if you want to try and get up to 2.5 hours worth of moderate exercise, which is what the recommendations are, how could you find 2.5 hours in your week to be able to do that? Now, it's ideal to do it spread across the week and not just a 2.5 hour walk at the end of the week. So, could you do half an hour here, half an hour there, split it up, 15-minute walk in the morning, 15-minute walk in the evening? How could you do it? How could you work it into your lifestyle, right?
Absolutely. So I've got Davina's menopausing book. She has got a section in there that says you are never too busy to exercise. So you can always find time, and she almost recommends scheduling it. So in the same way that you would book in a meeting for work, or a pickup for your kids for school or whatever, you treat it in the same way. So you look at your diary over the week and work out, right, where can I fit this in? And it is hard, and I'm sat here talking about it, and I'm nights like tonight, do you know what? It's dark, it's cold. Do I want to go swimming at 9 o'clock because that's my preferred time to go because the pool's quieter? Not really. No, I want to be, on the sofa tonight watching the TV. I won't. I will push myself to go. And sometimes it is that whole thing of having somebody to keep you honest. So having somebody to train with, or somebody say, come on, let's go out for a walk, or let's meet for run. I know a lot of my friends that do that to make sure that they are, they stick to it and they've got some accountability there, and I think that is helpful. But yeah, it's absolutely, if you've got dogs that you have to take out to walk, they need exercise, and you wouldn't go, oh no, I'm just not going to bother. You take the dogs out. So if your kids need to be somewhere, you take them. So can you honor yourself and give yourself that? Because obviously of all the benefits, you can't give to everybody else if you're not giving to yourself. And for me, exercise is just a fundamental need really for everyone. So how do you fit it in? Kitchen discos, and a friend of mine loves a kitchen disco, so she'll just put some music on and have a dance. I've seen things on Facebook, Lucy Squad, she'll do walking workouts which are literally 7 minutes. You can do HIIT workouts that are, sometimes less is more, that you don't actually need to be spending acres of time doing something, but just doing something, even if it's 5 or 10 minutes. Run up and down the stairs a couple of times, walk around the house a couple of times. What can you do, and focus on what you can do rather than what you can't, I think is the key thing.
Yeah, and it's also key to make sure that it's weight bearing as well. So swimming's great. It's going to be really good for your mental health, your cardiovascular health, but you also need to be working in some kind of weights in there as well. So the British Menopause Society recommends 2 sessions a week of weight bearing exercise. So if you manage your 2.5 hours of your cardiovascular and then you add in something strength training, so be that yoga, Pilates, as you said, kettlebells, squats, hip workouts, Joe Wicks, whatever it is, something that you're going to be jumping up and down, and obviously being mindful of any injuries that you've got. So you still have to kind of work around that as well. But yeah, to get the strength through your bones, you need to be doing that weight bearing as well. Cycling is good, but you need to be standing and having heavy, pedals have got to be heavy rather than sitting on the bike, because that doesn't actually put any weight through your body at all, because the bike is holding you up. So yeah, something I didn't realize until only recently. Yeah, good. Okay, so that's loads of ideas. What was it? Oh, something else I was going to say. The other thing I found as well, and maybe that's just my little ADHD brain, I don't know, but I find it really good to have some kind of external accountability. So I switched over to Vitality Life Insurance 2 years ago plus now, maybe even more, and I get points for exercising, and that really helps me because it means at the end of the week, if I've got all of my points, then I've put money towards Prime membership, I've put money towards gym membership, I've put money towards what are the other things I get? Cinema tickets. I get cash back in Waitrose if I go and spend some money in there. I get free coffees in Cafe Nero for certain points in the week. So for me, that makes a big difference because it forces me to actually exercise. So have you got any other tips kind of around that kind of stuff?
Oh yeah, I think it is the accountability of having somebody else. So like I said, I've there are certain times where I will say to a friend, right, are you around at the weekend? Let's go for a walk. I've actually joined a walking group. So again, I pay a membership for that. So anything I'm paying for, I don't know about anyone else, I hate losing money. So and that's I don't know what that is of me. That's probably my accumulator self, that I just don't like giving away money that I've spent on. So actually, if I've got a gym membership, I will be the one using it because I hate paying for something that I'm not getting. And so, for swimming or whatever, I don't have a membership for that. So I will pay up front. So it will keep me honest that it might only be £4.80, but the fact that I'm paying £4.80 and I've already paid it, and it means that I'm giving that away when I could have done something else with that money, that's good enough for me. So yeah, that's it. But I certainly, friends and accountability and sort of logging it. And I like what you said in terms of if you can get some bit of incentive there as well, maybe reward yourself. If we do it with kids, don't we give them stars for doing things. Can we do the same with ourselves, that you do so many sessions of exercise and you get a coffee, or you can treat yourself to something. I don't know whether that works, however small. Treat yourself to some nice strawberries, obviously for health, but yeah.
Yeah, or get yourself a new gym kit, or new pair of trainers or something like that. Yeah, and I like that idea. Incentivize yourself. I know the whole idea of paying yourself to do chores, which is something I know we've spoken about many times for other things, but that's something you could do as well, couldn't you? You could pay yourself to do a workout. Why not? Put it in your savings account.
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
Well, I think it's also what's that phrase about you train together, you stay together. So I think there are lots of couples that I know lots of couples that go, God, we really struggle to get any time together for a date night. Why wouldn't you, I don't know, do a class together, or go for a run together, or go for a walk together? Is that something you can sort of build in as almost a date night and an exercise thing all at once? So yeah.
Yeah, I know. Well,
ballroom dancing. There you go. There's something to do.
Yeah, ballroom salsa dancing. Yeah, I'm not sure I'd quite get Tom doing that, but yeah.
Try, you never know.
No, brilliant. No, that's really cool. So thank you for sharing that, and for those suggestions. There was another thing I was going to suggest everybody as well. So on that website I spoke to you about, the Women's Health Concern website, they've also got, if I have a look on here, share screen. And oh, not that one, this one. So this is another fact sheet that you could have a look at, which is on the Women's Health Concern website, and this is all about exercise in menopause. So this is also looking at the different types that you could do, what sort of things you could. I mean, we've already spoken about sort of Joe Wicks and things like that. That's exactly what these sorts of things would help you with. But it says on here about body weight squats and things. It's exactly what you'd be doing in something like yoga, isn't it? You would be using your body weight to stretch and strengthen and keep your muscles working really well. So definitely have a look at all of those things and follow the kind of ideas that they've got on there. So they've got some things on here about osteoporosis and couch to 5K, British Heart Foundation. It's so important because, yeah, I think what we don't realise is that while we worry about things like breast cancer, actually it's heart disease that's the biggest killer. And I never see that being talked about as much as I see breast cancer being talked about. So there are so many benefits to exercising. You've got the social bit, you've got getting your friends involved, paying yourself, giving yourself incentives, but there's also the reducing your heart risk, improving your health, improving your mental health, improving your bone health, reducing hot flushes. Oh, the list is endless. So I think there is no excuses there, really. You've just got to do it. Get yourself some walking trainers.
There isn't. And yeah, and I think we touched on the fact that time is a thing that we say is a reason for us not exercising. But I think there are other barriers to women sometimes doing exercise and activity, and we see it. So if you look at teenage girls, for example, it's well known that the drop-off rate with teenage girls playing sport and even moving into sort of elite sports pathways, the dropout rate for women and girls is actually more significant than it is for men, because I think there are different barriers that women have. So time is one of them, because we get busier. You might have the childcare responsibilities and the family, looking after the family responsibilities, as well as probably working full time. So where do you fit it in? Well, it's take the 5 minutes, take the 10 minutes. How can you kind of run up and down the stairs a couple of times if that's what it takes? But I think it's also a confidence thing, because I just wasn't very good at sport. I wasn't particularly coordinated, and my brother was quite good. And it just, became, I just didn't enjoy it because I wasn't very good at it. And I think sometimes it's, can we encourage our women and, young women to kind of stay with it and to show them. So I think there's a really important thing in terms of role modeling that we have to do, to say, look, I enjoy it, but it's finding the thing that you enjoy that I think is really important. So it gives you a bit of confidence in that. Do you have to be any good at it? Not necessarily. Do you enjoy it? Am I particularly good at I don't know, table tennis or swimming? Not necessarily. I can hold my own and I can do the distance. Am I ever going to do it particularly fast? No, but that's not why I'm doing it. So I think it's finding your why of why you're doing it. And if you enjoy something, particularly where it's exercise, find the thing and take the time to find the thing that you enjoy. And sometimes I think some of the menopausal symptoms or perimenopause symptoms can really get in the way. So if you're having hot flushes, the last thing you want to be doing is hot yoga, because it's going to trigger something. And actually, even in yoga, there are certain things that if you suffer from hot flashes, then actually there are certain postures you really need to be careful of doing, because it can trigger hot flashes. So again, just knowing sort of what's right for you, and maybe it is a swimming is the right thing because it will cool you down. Maybe it's wild swimming. I know various people that do wild swimming and will get out into a lake that's 10 degrees because they're like, it's heaven because I'm so hot. I love being in that cold water because it's the thing that cools me down. So again, there's so many things out there. And I think it is just doing a bit of investigation, and there will be loads of clubs around. And was there something that you enjoyed doing when you were younger that you've kind of given up? I was chatting to somebody today who she's kind of got a young daughter, been working really hard, and she was like, I was just thinking I just needed something different to do, and she'd been having some coaching, and the coach just suggested that she did something to rest, and she went, oh well, I could have a nap, and she went, no, I didn't mean napping, I mean what would give you a rest from your life that you would enjoy doing. And so she's gone back to playing netball because that's what she used to do. She used to love doing it. And she said, it's just amazing. She said, I'm more active. I'm not resting in a lying down and sleeping kind of way, but she absolutely loves it. So if there was something you loved at school, I don't know if it was hockey or netball or, whatever, go, maybe investigate and see whether there are any, sessions that you can do, and just give it a go. You never know.
No, that's really important. And I think the other thing as well is having a list of things. So when you have a week where you fancy doing one thing, you can do it. And then if you have another week where you fancy doing something else, you can do that too, especially if you get bored really easily. So that's what I like to do anyway. I kind of chop and change depending on my mood and what I like to do. So brilliant. All right. Well, thank you so much for that.
And the weather.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. Yeah, you don't go out if it's cold. Although you're going out swimming later, so we won't say
yeah. Oh, it's lovely out there. It's lovely.
Yeah, just keep going. It'll be fine. Fabulous. All right. Well, I think that's everything we kind of wanted to talk about, wasn't it? So I haven't seen any additional questions pop up or anything, but if anything comes up afterwards, feel free to tag either of us into that. I hope that's given you plenty of ideas and plenty of kind of whys to get started with some movement in the perimenopause and menopause, and then keep yourself well for as long as you possibly can. And if you want to catch up and find out more about Emma and her classes, then go along to my website, look at the resources and learn about the menopause, and that will help you to basically connect with her. Or you're on Instagram as well, aren't you? What's your Instagram handle?
Oh,
remember it?
That's a very good question. I think it's at Yoga from Shine, something like that. I'm terrible with the social media. Sorry. It's Yoga from Shine is my yoga business. So and I teach. I'm teaching menopause yoga workshops at the Roadhouse in Road in Northamptonshire. So I will just do a quick plug for menopause yoga. So I trained with Petra Coveney, who basically designed the whole concept of menopause yoga because she couldn't find anything when she was starting her menopause journey that helped. She did yoga but she sort of didn't know what to do to best help her. So the principles of menopause yoga is all about kind of journeying through to second spring. So it's not that kind of experiencing the symptoms. It's about kind of that journey. I love the concept of the second spring because it just talks to the positivity, and it's about getting women together to support each other. So you will always find some form of circle, some kind of sharing opportunity to talk about what you're experiencing, people sharing their knowledge, their best practices really that might help you, as well as the movement. And it could be that kind of strength yoga where you're holding the postures for a bit longer, or it could be really a bit more of a relaxing posture to kind of chill you out, to calm you down and get rid of the meno rage, whatever it might be. So there's lots in the menopause yoga which I absolutely love. So feel free to join me. Next one's the 4th of May, so it'd be great to see some people there.
Oh, brilliant. That's really good timing. So and honestly, I've tried it. It's very relaxing. It's very nice. So you're not going to be forced into a hot room having to do all these different crazy things. No, not at all. It's very, very supportive. So completely agree with that one. Fab. All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to have a chat with us about all of this. And I hope there's lots of food for thought for everybody. And we'll catch up again another stage and we'll talk about something completely different. I've got other ideas in mind for more live sessions, so keep us in the loop in the group, and also you can come and follow me on Instagram, and you can also have a look at my emails as well. Go on my website, you can sign up to my email list, and you'll get all the information about all the latest live events that are coming up as well. And if you want to come and join me, and I can see you as a doctor and help you with things like HRT, then by all means come and join me in my private clinic, which also has online and telephone and in-person appointments. So it would be amazing to help and support you through your menopause journey as well there, if you want that. So thank you, everybody, and you take care. Have a nice evening. Okay, bye.